Okay, so in this video, I want to set up our home screen and list out all of our products. Now, at the moment, we're just going to use just a JavaScript file with a products array with some dummy data. And later on, we'll be actually fetching products from our backend, ultimately from a database. But for now, you should have in your project files an images folder and a products.js file. And what I want you to do is take the images folder and bring that into your public folder. So if we bring that in here and just say copy folder, and they're just like, AirPods, Amazon Alexa, just some electronics. And then let's take the products.js and we're going to bring that into the source folder. Okay, so right directly into source. Now, if we take a look at the products array, we have 6 of them, 6 objects with an underscore ID, a name field, an image, which points to images in the public folder, description, brand, category, price, count in stock, rating, and reviews, so number of reviews. And you can see that there's 6, and they're just all different electronics. If you want to change this up and have different products, different images, of course you can do that, but this is what we'll be working with. So I'm going to close that up, and I want to first create a home screen. So in our source, let's create a new folder called screens, and inside screens, let's create HomeScreen.js. Now, all of our screens are just components, so I'm going to go ahead and structure out a component, and we're going to want to bring that products file in so we can import that directly. So we'll say import products from, and we want to go / out of screens and then products. So that will bring them in. And what we want to do here is loop through all the products and then output each one. And each one will be its own product component, which we'll create in a few minutes. But for now, let's get rid of this div and just have an empty fragment because we don't need a div. And then I'll have an h1 and just say latest products. And here I'm going to have a bootstrap row. So if I do row like that, I should be able to auto import, or not. Usually it lets me auto import from bootstrap. Oh well, so we'll have to just bring it in. So up at the top here, let's say import, and we're going to want row and call from React Bootstrap. Now, in this row here, I want to loop through our products that I brought in from that file. So I'm going to say products, and we want to use .map to create a list. Now, map takes in an arrow function, and we're going to pass in products. So we'll say for each product, then what do we want to show? And what we're ultimately going to want to show is a column. And in here, we're going to want to have a product component, although we don't have that yet. So for now, I'm just going to put an h3, and we should have access to each product property. So we'll just use the name here. And then as far as this column, I just want to add different sizes. So like on small screens, I want it to take up 12 columns, so it's just one single column. Let's do MD, we'll do 6. Large, we'll do, let's say 4, and then extra large 3. All right, so let's just save this. Now we need to bring this home screen into our app.js. So I'm just going to copy this down and let's say /screens and then home screen. And then down here, instead of this h1 here, we can actually get rid of that and just put in our home screen. All right, let's save. And now if we go back, we have these columns with just h3s of the product names. Okay, so we at least know that we're bringing the products into the file and we're able to loop through them. So instead of outputting h3s, let's go ahead and output a component called product, which we haven't created yet, but we will. Now, components can take in props. Again, I know most of you guys know this, but if you're brand new to React, components can take in props. Like I could pass a name in here, and I could pass in Brad, and I could access Brad from within that component. Now here, we just want to pass in whatever that product is. Okay, so that's coming from the arrow function within the dot map. So it'll pass in each product, and it should render 6 products or however many we have. It'll render those components. Now that'll have to be imported. And again, I know we haven't created this yet, but we will. So let's say import product from and /components/product. So now let's save that, and let's go into components and create product.js and just create an arrow function component. So as far as what I want to show for each product, it's going to be a bootstrap card. So here, let's say card, and it gives me the option to auto import. And I'm going to give this a class name. I just want some margin on the top and bottom and padding all around, and then rounded. Okay, now for in the card, we want to have the image, the product image, but I want to wrap it in a link. And when we implement the React router, we'll be using the link tag instead of an A tag. But for now, we'll just use this. And this is going to go to, let's use backticks in here to use a template literal, and it's going to go to product slash, and then we want to put in here a variable with the product._ID. And in here, we can use card.image, img, and put a source of product.image, and let's give it a variant of top, because you can place it in different areas. And if I save this and we go back, so we're getting an error that says product is not defined. So in our product component, it doesn't know what this is, this and this, because we passed it in as props, right? We passed it in here. So the way that we access a prop is right here. So we could do just props, and then we would have to go down here and say, you know, props.product ID, props.product image. But instead, I'm just going to use destructuring. So we can instead just pass in curly braces and just take out product directly. That way, we just have access to product, and we can use, you know, we can use this. So now let's save and go back, and now we should have just a row with these columns of images. And if we click on them, they're not going to actually go anywhere because we don't have any routes set. We don't even have React Router installed. But you can see up here, it does go to the product ID. So back in the product component here, let's go under the link with the image, and let's create a card.body. And in this card body, I'm going to want the product name, but I also want a link around it like we did with the image. So I'm going to copy that, paste that in, and then change this. So instead of card.image, I'm going to use card.title. And with these titles and texts, we can actually do as, and let's say we want this as a div. And then inside here, we'll just put a strong tag, and inside that, we want the product.name. Okay, and then underneath, let's see, we still want to be within the card body, but underneath the card title with the link around it, we're going to have card.text. Now, sometimes this happens when I put the dot here, it starts to change the ending card tag. I'm not sure why. So if it does that for you, just end it and then go ahead and do, you know, dot whatever, dot text. And then this I want to show as a div, so we'll set as div. And inside this card text here, I want to have the ratings. Now, ultimately, we're going to have a rating component like this, but we haven't created that yet. So I'm just going to put a div for now and give this a class name and just do my3 for margin on the top and bottom. And then we'll put the product.rating. So product.rating, and then from, and remember we have the number of reviews, so we can say product.numReviews, and then I'll just put the text reviews. All right, and then the last thing I want to do is under that card text, let's say card, and we want this to be card.text. and this will be, let's say, do as h3, and this is going to be the price. So let's put a money sign. This isn't a template literal or syntax. It's not within backticks. It's a literal money sign. And then we can say product.price. All right, let's save that. Let's take a look. And you should have something like this. Okay, now, again, this will be stars because we're going to have a rating component with stars. But for now, I just wanted to display just that. But in the next video, we'll go ahead and we'll add the rating component.